Hey everyone, Nick here and welcome back to GamerTube. So in today's video, we're going to be doing something a little bit different. So what we're doing is our very first Little Nightmares character bio. So this is the kind of video where we delve into a pre-existing character that we've already made up. So we'll pretty much go more into their backstory, their gameplay mechanics, and the character as a whole. But with these videos, there still is a little bit of a twist. So we've been working with a 3D animator and designer, Rotas, on Twitter. Rotas has designed the Exterminator. So now we get to actually see what this character might look like if they were actually in a Little Nightmares game. So we thought we'd make a video about this awesome 3D model that they've made and also tell a little bit more of a backstory whilst we show it off. And also, just like in every video, I will state that these are just our own ideas. We don't expect Tarsier or Bandai Namco to really do anything with this idea and this 3D model and turn them into a game or a DLC. And lastly, before we start today's video, if you could please consider leaving a like and commenting as it helps out a lot and it's greatly appreciated. Also, be sure to subscribe to GamerTube so you don't miss a thing and also hit that bell notification. Alrighty, well, let's take a look at this 3D redesign of the Exterminator. So here we have it. This is the 3D render of the Exterminator. So on the left we have the original design, and now on the right we can see what this character would look like if they were actually in a Little Nightmares game. The bio information for the Exterminator is as follows. Alias, the Exterminator. Age, middle-aged to older. Gender, male. Species, unknown. As for their first introduction, in the original character creations video we are introduced to the Exterminator. The Exterminator was the antagonist that attacked the Pale City Orphanage. They were contracted by the owner to fumigate the building and exterminate any residents that were living there. It was inside the orphanage where we met the protagonist, the Trouble Child. The Trouble Child managed to escape this crazed exterminator. In the end, they got the best of the Exterminator by mixing and rupturing their poison canisters. This incredibly poisonous red gas was strong enough to pierce through their gas mask and knock the Exterminator clean out. The Exterminator also makes a second and final appearance in the Maid character concept video. He appears right at the end where he tries to save the owner from the fallen pile of debris. Unfortunately, the Exterminator was too late, and as soon as the owner died, so did the Exterminator. So now that we have a 3D representation of the Exterminator and a good look at what they'd look like in the game, let's get into some gameplay mechanics. So this character would be of similar height and build as the chefs from Little Nightmares 1. They would also act in the same manner as well. The Exterminator would be able to stalk and look for the player. They'd even be able to look under tables and objects to catch the player whilst they're hiding. The Exterminator would be able to run after the player. Their speed would be similar to that of the chefs considering that they share the same build. The Exterminator wouldn't be the kind of character to grab or capture the player. Considering that their main weapon is the poison sprayer, they would be more likely to spray the player with a cloud of poisonous gas. When they find the player, they would spray them with the poison, and the player would have a certain amount of time to avoid this gas before it poisons them fully. This poison gas would slow down the player whenever they come into contact with it, making it a lot more difficult to escape and therefore get poisoned. So now let's get into the visuals and sounds of the Exterminator. The Exterminator is seen wearing a dark hazmat suit and an old-fashioned gas mask. This character was inspired by the famous Chernobyl and World War II style hazmat suits. We thought that this unknown character hidden behind a large imposing suit would fit perfectly in the world of Little Nightmares. On their back they carry a large spray canister filled with deadly poison. This steel compartment poison canister was connected to their spray wand and was what produced the deadly poison clouds. In the original design, the Exterminator had a slight glow to the eye holes of their mask. And in the 3D remodel, we have a much more intense glowing effect. The Exterminator's bright eyes could be seen in the dark and even through a thick cloud of poisonous gas. This would be a really creepy image, seeing the Exterminator's eyes appear first and then the rest of their body. As for the Exterminator's face, it was never revealed. It would definitely be a mystery as to who and exactly what this character is. They could possibly be the same race as the guests on the moor, or maybe they could even be a new type of disturbing enemy. In the original story that we made up, the viewers were never meant to see their face, and I don't think we'll ever reveal it. I think the gas mask adds to the ambiguity and mystery. Now for the sounds that the exterminator would make. While searching for the player, they would make a heavy breathing noise through their mask. When they find the player, they would make a sort of startled noise. As with all the characters in Little Nightmares, the exterminator of course would be non-vocal. Another key sound effect would obviously be the sprayer. The player would hear the slight hiss as the poison fog exits the sprayer nozzle and enters the room. Speaking of the sprayer, let's get into the weapons and gadgets that the exterminator uses. So first off, we have the sprayer wand and the backpack canisters. This would be the exterminator's primary weapon. As for the poisons they use in the sprayer, we first come across Poison A. This is the green poison gas that we see in the first half of the video. This poison is quite deadly and would slow down the player's movement whilst they try to escape from the toxic green cloud. In the character concepts video, the kind child wears a piece of clothing around their face to avoid breathing the poison in. The trouble child can also avoid breathing in this gas for a short amount of time due to the sac that's covering their face. The second poison we have is Poison B. This is a dark yellow poison that we didn't actually see in the original video. It was originally meant to be the second intensity of poison gas, but we decided to keep it out of the video and jump straight ahead to the third poison instead. This third poison was called Poison C. This was the purple poison that we see near the end of the video. This purple poison was so intense that it actually corroded and melted most things that got in its way. The player is meant to run away from this poison gas in a chase sequence where they would escape through a gap in the wall. The purple poison would melt and corrode everything behind the player to convey how deadly and concentrated it was. The final poison was a creation of the Trouble Child themselves. In the end of the original video, the Trouble Child tries to free the kind child by mixing the poisons and corroding away the padlock. In doing this, they created the fourth poison with the potency of all three mixed together. This, of course, was the red poison, which was so highly toxic it proved too much for the exterminator's mask and knocked them out. Another weapon they used was the snap traps. These were very similar to the bear traps that were used by the hunter in Little Nightmares 2. The player would also have to grab random objects and throw them towards the traps to spring them. One of the other traps they used was the cage trap. This was seen in the original video when the kind child attempted to escape out the window, but the exterminator placed cage traps on all the windows around the building. These are just the standard non-lethal trap and pretty similar to the ones that we see used by the janitor in the first Little Nightmares game. One of the more interesting tools that we see the exterminator use is a device we call the Grab-O-Matic. This machine has an extendable arm with multiple sharp blades at the end. This tool is intended to grab anything that's stuck in hard to reach places. The two children barely escaped as the Grab-O-Matic's arm reached its max stretch length and had to be retracted. If this device managed to grab the player, it wouldn't be fatal, it would just grab them back through the vent and into the clutches of the exterminator. One tool or gadget idea that we had that didn't really make it into the original video was the idea of the exterminator using trained rats as a weapon. This would have solidified the point that the exterminator wasn't actually here to exterminate the pests or vermin, he was solely there for the children. The rats would have been a similar enemy like the bullies or the mannequin hand in Little Nightmares 2. These would have been an enemy you would have had to defend yourself against with an improvised weapon. These rats would have located the player and tried to swarm them. Now, something new that we have with this 3D model is a completely rendered background. This location wasn't shown in the original video. Rotus designed this brand new location, which would turn out to be the exterminator's lab. This is the lab in which the exterminator manufactures all their different poisons. They would have designed these poison gases with different types of plants and chemicals. This environment would have definitely been an interesting place to explore, especially with its creepy atmosphere and many places to run and hide. The Exterminator is definitely an intriguing character, and we believe he fits into the Little Nightmares universe perfectly. And with this awesome 3D rendered model, we can get a glimpse into what this character would look like in-game. Alrighty everyone, that's all we have for today's video. I hope you enjoyed, and if you did, please consider leaving a like, commenting and subscribing, as it helps out a lot and is greatly appreciated. Also, do remember to ring that notification bell so you don't miss any future uploads. As always, be sure to comment down below what you thought of today's video, and also what other redesigns you would like to see of our pre-existing characters. And also, once again, a very big thank you to Rotas for redesigning this character and bringing it to life. Alrighty, well, until the next video, I'll catch you later, bye.